Hello and welcome to the Emmy Awards. I'm your host, Emmy Cardinale, and this is my podcast where I talk about what I've been watching or rewatching once a week. If this is the first episode of mine that you stumble upon and you enjoy it, please feel free to follow me wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're listening to this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Comment down below any thoughts you have if you would like. My social media is also linked down below, so if you have any feedback, comments, concerns, anything, feel free to reach out to me. As the title suggests, this is going to be an episode covering The Summer I Turned Pretty and Big Brother 27. Timestamps will be in the description so you can fast forward. I've mentioned this in the last couple episodes, but I have ads automated on the podcast now, so the timestamps are not 100% accurate. Super exciting that I have ads now. I still haven't it hasn't been a full cycle, so I don't know. I have no idea what who knows. I'll probably be making $5 a month, but it's still cool. But just anyways, this podcast is still a hobby. Not that it matters. Who cares? I'm mentioning it because of the timestamp thing. Anyways, sorry. But timestamps will be in the description so you can fast forward to just the Big Brother part, just the Summer I Turned Pretty part, whatever you're interested in. I have quite a lot to talk about with Big Brother, but I do want to talk about the Summer I Turned Pretty first, just to save my Big Brother thoughts for the end. Starting with the Summer I Turned Pretty. So I was not the biggest fan of episode 9, but episode 10 I really, really enjoyed. Episode 10 is kind of what I had hoped episode 9 would be, if that makes sense. Because basically this episode was a lot of Belly adjusting to Paris, right? And kind of the long-term fallout it impacts and people's growth over the following months. And this is what I had really hoped episode 9 would be. I feel like the pacing, I would say my biggest critique of The Summer I Turned Pretty is really the pacing, because I don't understand the decision to make episode 9 all about literally the day after the wedding. One episode was for one day, but then the next episode is basically a whole year. The pacing just feels confusing, and I think I really liked this episode, but it was slightly soured by the fact that episode 9 had felt so dragged on in the way that it was, and the fact that now we only have one episode left. So in that regard, I was a little bit disappointed with episode 10, but not because of episode 10 within itself, just because of the pacing. I was I understand the immediate aftermath, and I do think a lot of that was necessary in episode 9, but I also just think that a lot of it could have been I don't think we needed there were so many scenes of Jeremiah moping, we could have gotten the hint. And I also think it was a little bit annoying this episode that we got a lot of follow-up of Jeremiah's arc, which I think is good or whatever, but it is just annoying that Conrad, we got very little of his life in California, and it's just I don't know, all of Conrad's storylines revolve around him trying to make amends, or him trying to fix things, or him trying him writing to Belly. And it's obviously I enjoyed that, but I wish we had gotten more of Conrad actually. I don't know. Anyways, this isn't a formal recap, but I am going to try to go in order of the scenes and share my thoughts of the episode, hopping around, but I'm going to try to be a bit chronological. Those are my initial thoughts. We open up and it is Thanksgiving. There's a voiceover, but it's not a voiceover. Belly's leaving a message for her mom. Belly has a bunch of jobs. She's doing school online. Some of this is a voiceover, I think. Yeah, some of it is voiceover, but we find out it's Thanksgiving from a voicemail that she's leaving her mother. But we do find out from the voiceover she has a bunch of jobs. She has roommates. We see the roommates. She's making stuffing because it's Thanksgiving. How did she find these people? I was also really confused at first, because for some reason, when she was talking about all her jobs, and the first two people who came in, I thought, okay, maybe she's an au pair or something. I'm I don't know. She's working under the table. How did that work? What visa is she on? There are too many logistics that I shouldn't concern myself with. It's not relevant, but I did just be I was just a little bit confused. But this is gonna sound really stupid and uneducated. Obviously, other countries have immigration services. You can migrate to other countries, right? And get visas and then eventually become residents. And like obviously the United States of America isn't the only country that people move to and then eventually even become citizens of. Like obviously people can become citizens of different, but how does immigration, like, do other countries have like ICE like organizations? Probably not as militant and as intense, right? I don't know. I'm just like, Belly could never do this in America if she was an American. But, she's fine. That's not the plot of this. Oh my God, funny enough, and I am going to mention this now because honestly, I don't really, whatever. This happens later during Christmas, but like on this podcast maybe not many times, but a few times have mentioned the fact that Steven and Denise's like work stuff has been giving me like anxiety because I'm like, he's like in breach of his contract and I'm just not supposed to be worried about that at all. And that actually did come to a head this episode where Steven and Denise were trying to pitch something and they had investors and then the investors backed out and it was because Adam found out or something and whatever. Steven is so lucky that he's an Nepo baby. Like, I'm sorry. What do you mean? I shouldn't have worried. What was Adam going to do? All this stress for nothing. But Steven does quit his job. Again, not super relevant, not super important, but I just felt the need to mention it because I have probably been the only person concerned about Steven breaching his contract. That kind of stuff gives me really bad anxiety. Like, I don't know why. Like, stuff like that. I'm like, why? Why risk it? Like, it gives me so much anxiety. But anyways, I got on that tangent because I was thinking about all of Belly's jobs. But anyways, she's struggling with her friend. She's working a bunch of jobs. She does school online. So we get a lot of like exposition and where Belly's been, but she's still clearly struggling. Like her friends who we met in the last episode are like, don't you want to go home for Christmas? And the voiceover is like, obviously I want to go home, but that's the problem. Like, I don't feel like I've grown. I don't feel like I've changed. And it's not the only reason. There are a lot of reasons I'm not team Belly and Jeremiah. But the amount that Belly has been able to grow and like really, like I feel like just the fact that Belly consistently describes Jeremiah as safe and easy, like everything's just simple with him. It's like, I do think that's good, but I think there's something about the fact that it's safe and easy, which had Belly stuck in her ways. And I think if there's anything, like, yes, Conrad saying what he did and ending, like the wedding ending was obviously really painful and them breaking up was obviously really painful. But genuinely, I think that Belly and Jeremiah, at the point that they were, I honestly think that if they had gotten married then, their relationship would have ended horribly anyway. I mean, I don't think they're meant to be long-term anyway. The amount that they've each been able to grow once they're not like stuck in this place of like familiarity, you know what I mean? And I think college specifically is such a time where you're away from everything you know and you're like meeting new people and you're reinventing yourself in a way. And I think there was something about Belly going to college where Jeremiah went and like them immediately being in this relationship that I think it's so clear to me how stuck Belly was. And I think it's beautiful how much we saw her grow in this episode. And I'm not saying, I mean, I don't know. It's an alternate, like, who knows if Belly would also be stuck if she had stayed dating Conrad. I don't think so, but I don't know. I'm glad that she's growing, and I do think being apart from Jeremiah is very important and a huge reason. But anyways, so she FaceTimes Taylor, who is doing a Friendsgiving at Steven's house. Jeremiah is there. He's making out with somebody. I thought it was Denise. It wasn't Denise. It was just another girl with curly hair. I wonder if they did that on purpose. Has anybody asked that question in an interview, like, to Jenny? Like, did they pick that because they wanted us to think it was Denise? Maybe they can't say that because if Denise and Jeremiah end up together, well, the thing is, I don't know. I didn't read the books. But didn't they end up together in the books? Like, wasn't that endgame that people already were anticipating? So like, was that meant to be a like, you are getting your Jeremiah Denise endgame? I don't know. I immediately thought it was Denise. It wasn't Denise. He is doing what he does when a relationship ends, which is shut himself down emotionally and just like, and you know what, I'm not gonna, there are a lot of people who shame Jeremiah and they're like, I don't care about that. I don't care. He's broken up. I think honestly, the only reason to me that is something to point out is because I think it showcases an incompatibility with Belly and Jeremiah, if that makes sense. Like, I think to me, the reason it's noteworthy that Conrad hasn't been in relationships and Jeremiah is so quick to get into them is because for Belly is somebody who, like, that means something to her, you know? So I think the only reason for me it's noteworthy is not as a character flaw of Jeremiah's, because I don't think it's a character flaw. I think people can cope in whatever ways they want. And, like, as long as you're being safe, it's fine. It does seem like maybe Jeremiah was hooking up with two people and not communicating. I don't really care because that's so minor. And obviously I do think Jeremiah is not a good communicator. But, like, to me, when people comment on, like, there's Jeremiah immediately hooking up with somebody else, like, if he's single and that's how he has to cope, I don't really care. I just do think it's noteworthy because I think Belly and Jeremiah view intimacy differently. And while I do not think that is necessarily something that 100% makes them incompatible, I think there are a lot of reasons that Jeremiah and Belly don't work. And I think the fact that Conrad, like, I feel like Conrad and Belly are similar in that way. And, like, yes, Belly does get into another relationship and it is more casual and she is kind of exploring more of that side of her. But Belly still isn't the kind of person, I don't think. I mean, I don't know, because I guess she pursued Jeremiah and Conrad but never really at the same time, right? I don't really know. I feel like I'm not making sense, but it's like I do think Belly says it means something to her. Like, I do think there's an incompatibility there in the way they view intimacy, and I don't think either one is wrong. I just think they're different. Anyways, sorry for that unnecessary tangent. But Jeremiah's been living with Steven. He's not going to college, apparently. Anyways, at the Friendsgiving, Adam shows up, which was super random, super weird. Cuts Jeremiah off, and then Jeremiah decides to move in with Denise. Poor Denise. The Jeremiah Denise of it all really does bother me. I liked Denise. I enjoyed Denise. I thought she was interesting. I liked the way that the Steve and Denise thing ended, because I felt like it would be annoying if it was like he likes both of them, but then you have to pick which one he liked the most, because I'm like, not another love triangle. Like, it didn't feel like, you know, so I appreciated that, and I am glad that Denise and Steven are just friends. And I love Taylor and Steven. Like, I'm glad that they're together and they're solid, and hopefully they'll be good for the rest of the season. Like, we don't need any more breakups and makeups, and they're good together. I think there's something to me that's really romantic about the idea of, like, a childhood best friend that you, like, grew up with and then eventually you end up dating, or, like, honestly just even being in each other's lives for that long, because I moved around a lot as a kid, so I never had that. So to me that's, like, so romantic, honestly. And I like Taylor and Steven's dynamic, so I'm really happy that they're going strong. Why they're still friends with Jeremiah, I don't get. I wish we had at least gotten a conversation with Steven and Jeremiah about Cabo, where he could have, like, we've seen now, and obviously I think it's important for them to talk about, we've seen twice Jeremiah and Conrad reference Cabo. Instead of the multiple scenes we got post the wedding, we could have had Jeremiah and Steven talk about Cabo. Like, it feels like the last we heard from Steven was him being like, oh, he cheated on... I mean, he did move on really quickly, but it's like, I wish we had had some kind of conversation. It's not that deep, but, like, it does just bother me that it's, like, seemingly nothing is going on. Like, he's just fine with Jeremiah moving on. Poor Denise. I feel bad for Denise, but Jeremiah's now crashing at hers, and he eventually gets a job as a chef, and, like, good for him. Back in Paris, Belly stays for Christmas. Taylor's coming for New Year's Eve. Christmas is super slay. She's in Paris. Benito comes. I love Benito. I know in the books he's from Spain because she studies abroad in Spain. I like the fact that they made him Latino. That's my Mexican king. The actor seems really sweet. I saw an interview with him, and he was so complimentary of Lola, and it was so beautiful. And then I saw another interview of him where it was like people giving their hot takes, and somebody said something about Belly, and he's like, look, we're all messy when we're young. I don't know. I like him. I know nothing of him, but he seems lovely. But I like Benito, you know, it's romantic. I will say random, but she's, like, closing down at the bar. She's having some wine, then he comes in, he drinks some wine, and then they leave on his motorcycle, and she's like, you can't drive. With the amount of wine you had, you can't drive. She also had wine, and she's never driven maybe it's not like a motorcycle, like a moped. I don't, anyways, his bike, his electric bike. Like, what do you mean? How is she more, anyways, it's fine. They don't get into a car accident. That's not a plot hole either. It just bothered me. Lots of reckless driving in the show. Should be called The Summer I Drove Recklessly. That's not funny at all. Reckless driving is not funny. Just ask Steven. He almost died. New Year's Eve, I loved. I loved New Year's Eve. I loved seeing Taylor in Paris, her little outfits, like her getting to know Benito, and then obviously them having the party. Then Junior Mint is shipped, and Belly, has a moment where she opens Junior Mint, and Taylor's like, what's going on? And then she kisses Benito, and then she and Benito start dating. Meanwhile, really quickly, back to America. I forgot to mention this. I'm really hopping all over the place. But, like, on Thanksgiving, Conrad is alone, but he calls Laurel, and he asks because she asks if he's coming to Christmas, and he's like, I don't know if Jeremiah would be cool with that. And then he also broaches the idea of, like, reaching out to Belly, and Laurel's like, I can't tell you what to do. But on Christmas, Conrad does come, and Jeremiah waits in the car, and then him and Laurel have a moment. And, like, I don't like Jeremiah, okay? So if you like Jeremiah, I'm sorry. I don't like him. And because I don't like him, a lot of the things he does just bother me in a way that they probably wouldn't if I liked him. People can judge me all they want for that, but at least I'm not calling him a serial killer. Like, people don't like Conrad, and then they're comparing him to Joe from You. So, like, God forbid the worst thing I say about Jeremiah is not even close to calling him a serial killer or violent or anything of the sort. So I don't really care. I don't like Jeremiah. Like, I'm sorry. It's so whiny and so annoying for him to be like, they ruined the house for me. He gets Christmas. I'm all alone. It's like, you've had people reaching out to you multiple times. Conrad wants to make amends with you. And also, I just find it to be, and obviously I understand there are different situations, but it's like Conrad literally kept his distance for years. Like, he didn't get family Christmases for years. And now, because like 5 months have passed, and I don't know. The whole thing bothered me. I understand I'm being too harsh on Jeremiah, but it's just like, what do you mean you have nobody? Belly left, and everybody rallied around you. They all shunned Conrad. Nobody wanted to talk to Conrad, which, while yes, Conrad said something that impacted the wedding, at the end of the day, Conrad is simply the scapegoat. If you are in a solid relationship, if things are good, somebody from your past saying, I still love you, is not going to shake the foundation of your supposedly healthy, long-term, we're ready to get married relationship. Like, it's just not. Do I think that it could maybe cause some kind of issues? Maybe, but like the reactions on both ends, the way Belly reacted, the way Jeremiah reacted to that news, Jeremiah leaving, it's so easy to just pin everything on Conrad when at the end of the day, there were a lot of things that led to that. Conrad saying that to Belly alone would not have ended the wedding if a lot of other things hadn't happened. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. The whole wedding planning process had been a nightmare. And a lot of that had been, in my opinion, due to the fact that Jeremiah wasn't like paying attention or receptive or helpful or like anything. Planning their wedding, they kept describing it as like a storm. They needed to lean on each other to overcome. Like, it was this huge hurdle. It was causing a great amount of stress in their lives, this decision they made to get married at this age and at this pace, like so quickly. It was causing them a lot of stress as is. Their relationship, which allegedly had been all sunshine and rainbows or whatever, was rocky. They had a rough summer, Conrad aside. Because the whole wedding that they decided to do that nobody was on board with, things were not going well for them. Belly tells Jeremiah this because she doesn't want him, like, she wants to be honest with him. He freaks out and leaves. When he comes back, she tries to have a conversation with him, and he doesn't want to engage with that. And then they get into a big blow-up fight where a bunch of stuff is revealed, and he knew about Christmas and Cabo, and you know what I mean? Like, it's not all on Conrad. They were not meant to get married. They were not ready to get married. So, like, I don't know. And I genuinely do believe that if Belly and Jeremiah had gotten married at that age, all the circumstances, I do think that they would have ended poorly, because I don't think either of them knew who they were outside of this relationship with each other. And that's not healthy. Like, even and obviously this is different because it's not a romantic relationship, but like I'm a twin. A lot of my identity growing up was intertwined with my sister because we were always the twins. We were a package deal. It was us two. And while my relationship with my sister and my love for my sister, and like that is very important to me and core to my identity, honestly, being a twin, like I do feel like it shaped a lot of the way I view relationships, like having somebody that close to me. But I do think that there's a moment in your life where I was like, who am I outside of being a twin, outside of being one of two? Like, who am I just within myself? And I think also me and my sister are very similar and we have a lot of the same interests and hobbies and stuff. So it was like not like in high school we were in different, like we both gravitated towards the same things. So we ended up doing a lot of the same extracurriculars and having a lot of the same friends and just like, so our lives were very connected. And I think there is a moment where you learn like to be your own person. And I don't think Belly and Jeremiah experienced that. Like I don't know. And I think that's part of the dangers of like, dangerous is a bit dramatic, but it's like it is a risk you take of like following a romantic interest to college or a romantic partner to college. Anyways, like I genuinely don't think Belly and Jeremiah were going to last without some time apart. Who knows, in a hypothetical world where they get back together, maybe they can't. But I don't think that where they were in their lives in that 4-year relationship they had, I don't think was good for either of them in figuring out who they were individually. And I think that if they had committed to each other at that age, I do think eventually, maybe not right away, I do think eventually, even if Conrad didn't get in the middle, I don't think that they would have lasted long term because I think they would have realized that they didn't know who they were outside of the relationship. And I think Belly specifically would realize how much she kept compromising for him because I just think that was their dynamic. I think Belly, time and time again, would just do things and appease Jeremiah. That's my perspective of their relationship, but I don't even remember why I went on that topic. Oh, okay, because Conrad is like the very convenient scapegoat, but he is not the reason that their wedding imploded and that their relationship ended. It just isn't. And honestly, Conrad saved them a bunch of like trouble with like a fucking divorce. Sorry, that's bleak, but like them getting married at that point is the worst case scenario. Honestly, even if you're Team Belly and Jeremiah, because why would you want anyways, whatever. But all of that to say, Jeremiah's and his feelings might be valid, but it did annoy me. I'm not gonna lie, it annoyed me because it's like nobody is pushing you out. People rallied around you. Conrad is just for once in his life deciding to show up. Like Conrad gets shit for being avoidant and for like running away when things get hard. And Conrad he's finally at a place where he's like, I'm not going to run away. I'm not going to stay away because I've realized that doesn't make things better. Avoiding the situation doesn't make things better. Being in an uncomfortable situation and figuring out how to coexist and mend relationships and actually have those conversations long-term leads to more progress. Like people who are critical of Conrad say that he hasn't grown at all. And while I do think storytelling-wise, I wish we had gotten more of who Conrad is outside of who he is in these relationships. Like I do wish we had gotten more of him in California and like Dr. Namazi and Agnes. Like I do wish we had gotten more of his life in California, especially because we did get like Jeremiah getting a job and like Jeremiah living with Denise and we saw all of that. But I don't understand how people say that Conrad hasn't changed at all because I think Conrad's biggest mistake time and time again was thinking that the solution to problems was to leave. That not being around, not having people in his life, he thought that not being with Belly or being around Belly and Jeremiah would be best. That was what he was constantly doing, is pushing people away because he thought that was the best case scenario. And now he's at a point where he's not pushing people away, where he is continuing to be like, I'm here and showing up for people. And now, or like even the writing Belly, people who don't like Conrad or like he is like pushing and disrespecting her boundaries. It's like Conrad really can't win because it's like if he wasn't engaging and he wasn't showing interest, then he doesn't like her and he's a breadcrumbing, manipulative, whatever. And now that he is showing interest and he is being clear that he does like her and he thinks about her and he is pursuing her, now the pursuing her is bad because she's not actually interested. And it's like Conrad has grown. Do I wish that we had seen more of growth and more of him beyond him trying to make amends with Steven and Jeremiah and writing Belly. Yes, I do wish we had gotten more of that. But I think you're wrong to say that Conrad didn't or isn't displaying any growth, because I think Conrad's consistent reaching out to his brother and like following up and not giving up on the people he loves is growth. Him coming to Christmas despite the fact that people are like not super happy to have him around is growth. Conrad of a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, if somebody wasn't comfortable with him, he would leave. He's no longer avoiding difficult situations. You know what I mean? He literally like removed himself because he didn't know how to navigate that, and instead of figuring out how to navigate it, he thought it would be best if he just left. Now he's not leaving and people have trouble with that. It's like, what do you want him? You just don't want him there, and that's whatever. But like, I think there is growth in Conrad's assertiveness and his like being firm and staying and being like, I want to have a relationship with you. Showing up. Conrad is showing up. And to me, that is growth, because Conrad's biggest issue in the past has been being avoidant, not communicating. Now he's communicating. That's growth. But anyways, the conversation in the car did bother me. I'm glad Laurel forgave him. It is nice to see Jeremiah trying. There was just a bit too much Jeremiah for me. I wish we had gotten more of Conrad in California. At the end of the episode, not to like spoil, but like he's going to Brussels with Dr. Namazi or for some conference with Dr. Namazi. I'm like, they didn't explain that at all. The letters. When we see him write the first letter, he looks at the Polaroid from season 2. My heart died. I died. I was so happy. That brought me so much joy. That Polaroid, I would bid so much money on it, like the prop. I always think about things like that. Like my dream is, I wish I could, I don't know when, like I'll never forget. And I live in LA, but this wasn't in LA when Riverdale was ending in Canada, because Riverdale was filmed in Canada. They did like a huge warehouse sale of like people just could buy stuff that was on Riverdale, and I'm like, God, I wish that I could do that. I like, if that had been in LA, I would have gone, because I love the idea of like having a prop. Like my dream is to one day have something that was on Yellow Jackets. That would be like genuinely the coolest thing ever. Will it ever happen? Probably not, but like that would be genuinely the coolest thing to ever happen to me. So like I always think about stuff like that, and that Polaroid could go for so much money I don't have, but anyways, but it's so cool, brought me so much joy. I loved the letters. I really did. I thought they were sweet. I didn't think they were pushy. I didn't think whatever. I don't need to like, I'm just going to share my perspective. People are allowed to disagree, but I've said this before. I do think that there needs to be like a level of seriousness that people need to approach things with, because I do just think it's really like weird to say that, like, as much as I don't like Jeremiah, like I would never fucking compare him to like a stalker or like a violent character. Like I feel like that's a bit much and a step too far. Like let's not, whatever. But I liked them. It was a great episode. It brought me so much joy. Belly and Benito, I like their dynamic. He's sweet. Obviously there's an implication throughout that they're like not serious, but then she decides to stay in Paris, and it's like, so is she going to Mexico to see his family? I believe that there's some kind of implication. I don't know, people who are more attentive than me tracked the like, you know, the time, and apparently the anniversary of her passing was April 14th, and she's talking about going to Mexico next month when she's moving into the new apartment. So that would be May. And when Conrad is getting ready to go on the plane, Agnes says that it's June. So I guess it's like, I don't think she went to Mexico with Benito. I don't know. My guess is that we'll get some kind of explanation that like she couldn't get a visa in time or something. I don't know. Me thinking there's too many logistic reasons, or like maybe her program was starting up, or like she couldn't afford it. Who knows? I don't think she ended up going to Mexico. I do think we'll probably get some kind of closure with Benito. Some people are like, she's already broken up with Benito. I don't think that's true, but who knows? I like Benito. And Belly. I think they're cute. They're cute. I also really loved the moment where Belly's French is like better. That was such a beautiful moment for me that I clocked immediately, of like, suddenly like her French is so much better and she's like improving so much, and she's clearly adjusted. I love that she made the decision to stay. Like she got a nicer apartment. She moved out. Like I really liked all those choices. I'm really excited for the next episode. Is there anything that I wanted to talk about that I didn't? Denise and Jeremiah's little conversation where he was going to go to her family Christmas. Oh, and then I need to talk about the grave conversation. Sorry. Jeremiah, this really rubbed me the wrong way. When Jeremiah is talking to Denise about how painful it was to lose Belly, and he says that it was almost more painful than losing his mother. I'm not trying to police how people feel grief, and I've never lost a parent, but I have lost somebody like very close to me, and he was also sick and his health did deteriorate, and I wasn't even living with him. But like to me, I found that to be a very offensive comment. And like, again, he's a fictional character and people can describe grief however they want. And I'm not going to say that the grief of a breakup isn't also painful in a different way. But I think that I find that very odd because I feel like there's something so final about death where it's like you will literally, and I like to believe that there's something more and like, but in the human plane where we currently exist, like, I will never have a conversation again with the people who I like, I'm never gonna have a conversation with him again. What do you mean that like that is the same as like, and I've had people in my life who like, I've never been in a relationship, but I have had people who were like close friends of mine who like it ended. And like it does hurt that like somebody I was so deeply close to like now is a stranger to me basically. And that is a painful feeling. And obviously it's not a romantic relationship. So maybe that's some kind of pain I can't possibly fathom because I've never been in a relationship. But it feels very weird. Honestly, that really upset me. And maybe it shouldn't because it's a fictional character, but I think there's just something so deeply painful about grief and losing like an important figure in your life who like they'll never be at the milestones, I don't understand how that could possibly, especially if you have to watch like their health deteriorate in front of you. And people who are Team Jeremiah are always like, Jeremiah had to like watch his mother fade away every single day. How could he possibly think that losing Belly is worse than that? She's alive. Like, yes, you don't have her in your life, but like from a pure human, like out of love, I would rather somebody who I love dearly be okay and thriving and like get to live more life, even if it's not with me. It's like, especially like your mother died young, like not that like, when somebody dies and they're older, but it's like when somebody dies of an illness that you watch them slowly, when especially like you're a teenager and you lost your mother. I don't understand how that's not more painful. Like, I genuinely found that offensive and kind of really confusing. I think that there is a place to validate your feelings that, like, this kind of, it's different pain and you are, like, maybe more prepared for your mother to pass away. I don't know. But to say that, like, well, my mom's actually dead, Belly's out there still, it's like, shouldn't that be better? I don't know. That made me uncomfortable. But on to the grave conversation, because this is like such a great moment. And I really loved this, where Jeremiah and Conrad kind of finally have a heart to heart. And I really loved this because it really, the way Conrad defended himself, I love this. Like, Jeremiah is like, you wanted to take Belly and you could. And then Conrad's like, I couldn't take her. Like, she's not an object. And I really appreciated that because it's true. It's like, he didn't take her. Even if Belly had decided in that moment to run away with Conrad, like maybe, yes, it would be a dick move of Conrad to like run away with your fiance. I get that. But like even then, he wouldn't have taken her. She made that decision. Then by that argument, he could say that you took her. You decided to take her away from him when you knew he still loved her. No, Belly chose you, and just as Belly chose you in that moment, she chose to not be with you in that moment. What do you mean? I mean, he technically ended it, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I did just appreciate the way Conrad was like, you also started dating her, like, literally right after I broke up with her, and that was not supposed to be painful for me. Like, I really appreciated that because I feel like there's always so much focus on, like, Conrad doing this to Jeremiah and Conrad, like, but it's like, at the end of the day, Jeremiah started dating his brother's very recent ex when he knew that his brother still loved her. That's odd. That's odd behavior. especially, like, you're all clouded by grief. This is not the moment to do stuff like that. Like, I don't know what you mean. That just bothers me. I'm sorry. It does. It does. It bothers me. So I appreciated Conrad being like, it's because, like, I loved her. I couldn't stop loving her, and I needed to tell her that. Just like you couldn't stop loving her, and that was your focus. I appreciated that. I loved Conrad in this moment. They make amends, I guess. Okay. Something else I forgot to mention, but I did have a lot to say. Belly and Jeremiah have a conversation before New Year's, like on New Year's Eve. And this phone call really bothered me because Belly tries to apologize to Jeremiah and he stops her. He doesn't let her apologize. And this bothered me. Like, this bothered me. I don't understand how people think, like, Jeremiah is, like, a great communicator. She's trying to apologize, and he's like, I don't want to talk about that. Like, he doesn't, it's all about his feelings. It's like, if somebody hurts you, and, like, yes, an apology shouldn't be for the other person, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know. That really bothered me. And I think the reason it especially bothered me was because later in that same night, when Belly gets the care package from Conrad and Taylor opens it and Taylor's like, why don't you want to move on? Like, are you scared of being hurt again? Belly's like, I'm scared of hurting somebody again. And you can tell that she's holding so much guilt for the way that she hurt Jeremiah. And she's holding the weight of this relationship ending on her shoulders. She has a conversation with Jeremiah and he won't forgive her. And literally when they were breaking up, he was like, fuck you for making me feel like there was nothing going on between you. Yes, Belly hurt Jeremiah. But Belly and Jeremiah's relationship did not purely end because Belly did something wrong. Jeremiah was not being a good partner to her. There were cracks in the foundation. They were Jeremiah literally admitted in his conversation to Conrad later in the episode that he didn't want to address Christmas because he felt like that would be losing Belly. Like, he wanted to hold on to Belly as much and as long as he could. Jeremiah, in my opinion, was just as much at fault. You proposed to somebody who you had all these doubts that they were even... What do you mean? What do you mean? There were so many moments you could have communicated your concerns. There were so many moments that you could have listened to her concerns about the wedding planning, about the apartment, about, like, there were so many things that Belly had hesitations about that Jeremiah just didn't listen and didn't really sit with and didn't try to, like, it really, really hurts me that Belly is shouldering all of the blame and feels so horrible. And I really feel like, and I know he's not trying to do this, I'm not saying that he's doing this on purpose, but it feels like on some level, Jeremiah has made Belly feel like an evil monster. And I just don't like that. I don't like that. And I understand, and I'm not saying he has to forgive her, but it does just make me sad that she tries to apologize to him and recognize that she hurt him and he won't give her that closure. Like, I don't know. Jeremiah's approach to the relationship with Belly ending really bothers me. I mean, his whole approach to the relationship with Belly and his approach during the relationship with Belly bothered me because it's like, if you have an issue with Belly, like, he should have communicated that. I don't know. If I was Jeremiah in this situation, the first thing I would probably do is be like, I heard this. Is this true? But even if I didn't, or I was anxious to, the moment that they were like, did something happen? Like, if somebody asked me, did something happen? And there was something that was bothering me, I wouldn't be like, no. Or I wouldn't be like, worse than visiting my dead mom's grave. No, I would have been like, yeah, actually, I heard this and it kind of bothered me. And, like, I haven't brought it up because I've been nervous to, because I don't know if I'm, like, overthinking it. But, like, this has been bothering me now that you bring it up. Like, the fact that Belly said, is something going on? You've been acting weird. And he didn't, in that moment, communicate it. Like, to me, it's just really, really frustrating to watch their whole relationship play out and watch the whole wedding planning play out, the way he consistently didn't prioritize Belly's feelings and Belly's wants, or consider Belly, or, like, even listen to her when she tried to express concerns. Like, he really was not a good partner to her in this season. And again, even the breakup, I think, was, like, partially his fault. There were a lot of things he did wrong and pitfalls he fell into where if they had resolved conflict more, if he had had the conversation with her before Cabo, then the whole Cabo thing wouldn't have even happened the way it did. The Cabo thing didn't happen the way it did then Conrad would have never confessed his feelings. That would have never been an issue. Like, so many things that Jeremiah did wrong that led to their relationship not working out. Belly feeling so overwhelmed by the wedding and like consistently expressing that, and Jeremiah not trying to solve that problem for her. There were so many ways that Jeremiah left Belly completely alone emotionally this summer that I just don't think it's fair to blame everything on Belly. I really don't. And I really feel like, and maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I really feel like Jeremiah's, like, he preloaded this, like, if you break up with me, and yes, it's specifically like, you're going to ditch me to, like, if you ditch me to go to Conrad, I don't think I can take it. That I feel like added this, I don't know. I feel like there was, like, and I don't think he was trying to do it on purpose or maliciously or whatever. Like, I'm not saying he's like a mastermind, but I do think there was a level of manipulation that Jeremiah placed on Belly of, like, you're my world, you're my everything. We will weather this storm. It's us against the world, in a really unhealthy way. Like, planning your wedding shouldn't be a storm. You shouldn't be so stressed out at your wedding that you just look straight at the person. Like, the only situation where that would make sense to me is if you, like, met on The Bachelor and you're having a televised wedding, because then they pay for everything, and you're like, I'm really anxious about having a televised wedding. Like, okay, having a televised wedding would be really stressful, but also they're paying for everything. So it's like, you know what I mean? You didn't even want a big party in the first place. It's just this thing where I don't think Jeremiah and Belly were in sync. They weren't on the same page. He wasn't showing up for her, and he wasn't a good partner to her these last few months. He didn't prioritize her. And it bothers me that she's shouldering all the blame, and she feels like she can't even be in a relationship because she doesn't want to hurt somebody else. Like, she feels so low of herself and feels like so evil because of the hurt she caused Jeremiah. And I just wish that he would, like, forgive her, allow her some closure. I don't know. That bothered me. Conrad's going to Paris. That's exciting. Belly's getting a haircut. Very exciting. It's her birthday. Also very exciting. I'm excited for the finale. It's kind of sad that it's the next episode. One day I will do a deep dive on the entire show. Now that things are kind of coming to an end with the shows that I've been covering, I will get back to my Yellow Jackets deep dive. I started the prep for that and I never finished, and then therefore never recorded. So when the Big Brother season's over, and honestly, even after the Summer I Turned Pretty ends and then I have a bit of a break where I'm only covering Big Brother, which is still obviously a lot to cover, but, like, towards the end game of Big Brother. So anyways, that's all I have to say for the Summer I Turned Pretty, I think. I wish we had gotten more of Agnes and Conrad. Like, what do you mean suddenly he is going to a conference in Brussels with Dr. Namazi? When did him and Dr. Namazi mend fences? When did he and Dr. Namazi mend fences? Like, when did that happen? We got to see the Jeremiah. First, we saw Jeremiah have a conversation, like Jeremiah at Friendsgiving. Then we saw Jeremiah and Denise. Then we saw Jeremiah have a phone call at his job with Belly. We saw so much of Jeremiah. We got, like, one scene of, like, we got scenes of Conrad writing, Conrad talking to Steven. Like, all of Conrad's scenes were revolving him trying to make amends. And I wish we had gotten a bit more of him in California. That's my take. But anyways. Okay, moving on to Big Brother 27 week 9. I always forget what week we're on. Especially because I always record once the next week has already started. So I'm like, I don't even remember. Yeah, week 9. So Mickey went home, the last pre-juror, on Thursday. And then feeds were down for over a day. Normally feeds come back Thursday night and we find out who has won the HOH. However, that did not happen. Feeds were down until Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific. So midnight, so basically Saturday for the people on the East Coast. And the reason it aired the reason feeds came back then was because it was right after BB Unlocked had aired, and they waited until it aired on the West Coast. As somebody who lives on the West Coast, like, genuinely, I kind of hate when they do that. It's like anybody who cares is checking up on Twitter, okay? Like, when they wait to turn feeds back on to do an HOH comp after it's like, who cares, okay? The people who are dedicated will already know who went home and will tune in to the live feeds before the episode airs, okay? Like, I genuinely, I watched feeds sporadically this week. I wasn't super on top of it. I kept up to date with the live feed updates, but like in terms of clocking onto feeds, didn't watch as much. But I only watched the episodes like after the fact. Like I watched them all yesterday, which I do think was helpful insight, DRs and everything, but I knew the trajectory of the week generally. Watching the episodes did like get more insight. But anyways, normally feeds aren't down that long. We got some hints on Twitter that it was like the wheel thing, like the safety chain wheel comp from reindeer games, that was happening. Feeds were down overnight. Rumors started swirling that it was a fan favorite. Then at the end of the BB Unlocked, like the White Locust twist was revealed, and then Tuesday was going to be a special elimination episode. There was no episode Sunday. So that's what we got in BB Unlocked, and feeds came back immediately after. And I was expecting it to be like something like Dire Fest or like even Janky World, where it came on, everybody was living outside. I thought the White Locust was going to be something where people were living outside. It was very surprising to me that it was seemingly just like it was a one night, like feeds came back and like the house seemed normal. Like there was an HOH, there were people nominated. It was genuinely very odd. And the only person gone was Rachel. And we started hearing bits and pieces of like what happened. Rachel had been sacrificed. There was an elimination. Ava kept talking about how Rachel pulled her arm. Ava was talking a lot of shit about Rachel being gone, or about Rachel. And people were really mad. I was really mad. And watching the episode honestly didn't help at all. Like, I'm still angry. I still think it was a stupid twist. Big Brother at its core is a social game. And I think because of that, like at the end of the day, you don't win because you had the most comps, right? Competitions guarantee you safety and they get you power. But like at the end of the day, the person with the most competition wins isn't the winner of Big Brother. It's the person who the most amount of people want to vote for. You need to have a level where people like you, people trust you, they want to keep you around. You have influence, you have power. That is what Big Brother is at its core. There are people who can control the entire game and like every decision will go their way, but because they did it in a way that rubbed people the wrong way, they lose. Like there are people in Big Brother who have played more strategic games, but they've missed that social aspect and they've lost the game. Like being liked, having currency, even having power, even if it's not like that people like you, but for some reason, like that is what you should live and die by in Big Brother. And I just don't think it's fair that somebody loses a comp and immediately they're gone. I also think it's especially fucked up in the era of the baby blockbuster where comp beasts have so many opportunities to save themselves even when their social game is in the fucking gutter. I think it's especially fucked up that somebody with a good social game can just be out because they lost one comp. And there was a quote-unquote social aspect to the game where it's like you picked the people. And I'll get into the sequence of events because I do have quite a lot to say about how everything transpired. But the twist on its face already bothered me. When feeds came back and it was Rachel who was gone, I was like really, really angry, like genuinely devastated because I really wanted her to win. And not even that, but it's just like there was such an arc there that we didn't get to see the end of because she was playing such a good game. Like, I think it would be frustrating if anybody left this way. One, because I think eviction should be live. Like, that's part of the joy, is like getting the votes in the real time and figuring out who, like, that's so fun. Even when it's somebody I want gone, watching them get evicted in real time, especially as much as I don't like the blockbuster, it's like the rush of like when the person you don't want to win loses the blockbuster and you know they're going home. Like there's a feeling that I think is so important. Like I want to see the evictions live, whether it's the people I like or it's the people I don't like. So that already bothers me, that feeds were down and we didn't get to see it. There were so many things about the twist I didn't like. I don't, again, think that somebody should just immediately lose and go home because they lost a comp. I think that that's fucked up in general, but I think it just really, really frustrated me and upset me when Rachel had played such a good game. Like, Rachel had been considered to be a renom or even just an original nominee a few times. And the HOHs, even though they specifically weren't like a lot, well, I guess Vinny, I hate calling him Vinny. It feels weird to me. Vince specifically, like, he is technically aligned with Rachel, but like, you know, not super loyal to Rachel. Vince can be aligned with somebody on paper, not be super loyal to them. But like, even people who wouldn't specifically want to keep Rachel around, they didn't want to take the risk because Rachel had so many allies that it wasn't worth taking the shot and missing. Like, there was, like, she had such a good game. This was like, and I didn't watch Big Brother 12 or 13 live, but from even, I've seen people say who did watch those seasons live that this is Rachel's best game so far, and it is just really unfortunate the way it happened, and watching the episode didn't make me feel any better, because basically what happens is there's like an initial comp, and the person with the fastest time is immediately safe, and it was Ava who won that. Lauren had like the fastest time, and then a few people went and didn't beat her, and then Keanu beat Lauren, and then Ava beat Keanu, and then nobody beat Ava. And Ava was safe, and then she had the power to choose the first person to go in the wheel thing, like the maze, to solve the maze. The first person has 5 minutes and 30 seconds, then each subsequent person has one less minute until somebody is eliminated. Ava has to pick somebody, and this really annoyed me. Like, this genuinely annoyed me. The way she was talking about it on feeds was annoying, but watching the actual, like, events, it was, I'm sorry, it was so irritating. It was so irritating. Like, it was so frustrating to watch because Ava's like, who wants to go? Why the fuck are you asking? Like, there's no strategy. Like, there's no strategy. Like, supposedly, they keep being like, oh, Rachel, the social strategy. But it's like, what? Okay, even if Rachel played horribly socially and strategically in this instance, like, I'm sorry, literally the fact that Ava was like, who wants to volunteer? Like, no, like I wish, I mean, I don't know, but because who knows who he would have picked, so maybe things would have still been fucked up in the first place, but it's like, I don't think Keanu, I really don't know. I don't know who Keanu would have picked first. Like, maybe he would have picked Rachel. Anyways, Ava's like, who wants to volunteer? Rachel immediately pulls Ava to the storage room, and Ava doesn't like this. Like, she kept talking on feeds about how Rachel pulled her arm. She said in the DRs for the episode, that, like, Rachel put her hands on her. Like, please, that's a bit much, okay? Like, there has to be a strategy behind it. Ava's like, who wants to volunteer? No, because it's like, because she's thinking nobody's going to want to do this because if the person who does it the slowest leaves. But it's like, people do want to do it because they know that they are likely to be picked by, like, somebody has to do it. And because somebody has to do it, somebody could end up, if they go last because they're a target, obviously the people who are targets want to go first. Ava's like, I didn't think anybody would want to volunteer. What do you mean you didn't think anybody would want to volunteer? Obviously Keanu is going to want to go first so he can get the most amount of time because he knows people are going to put him in. Obviously, Rachel's going to want to go first because she knows people are going to put her in and she doesn't want to go last. What do you mean? Obviously, somebody's going to want to volunteer. And if you didn't think anybody was going to volunteer, then think about the order and who's best. Like, it really bothered me the way that Ava, like, you won this. And yes, you won safety, but you were also told you wouldn't be making a decision in how things transpired. It wasn't just like, oh, the person who wins this wins automatic safety. It was like, and the decision to make this. So you shouldn't have fucking won. Whatever. Anyways, and this was genuinely like the dumbest sequence of events. I'm sorry. Rachel pulls her, then Keanu tries to ask. Then she's like, everybody, whoever wants to volunteer, sit at this table, raise your hands. Like, Rachel's really wanting to go. Like, all these people. Eva then at some point she talks to Morgan, and then finally, the loudspeaker, they come on and they're like, you need to make a decision. They don't say it like that. There's like, it's like an ominous voice who's like, you, blah, 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 whatever. I was about to call it BB reindeer, like baby reindeer in reindeer games. It was like the little jingle bell noise, and then it was like Santa. Santa is the mastermind. Satan and Santa are the same letters. It's all connected. You know how Big Brother 25, opened up with like the multiverse and they like were rewriting Big Brother history, you know, they should come back in and do that space laser thing that they did and rewrite the end of this season, because we stepped into a multiverse that I don't want to be a part of. Also, the way the safety chain worked is whoever got the fastest time in solving the puzzle would be HOH, which automatically I don't like, because automatically that means that there's a group of people who are ineligible, because not everybody's going to be able to compete, because eventually, even if every single person, you know, got it, eventually somebody's going to. There were like 8 people in the game still, I believe, and there were only like 4 rounds technically, because it was or 5 rounds because it started in 5 minutes. So technically, like there would be a group of people, even if it wasn't like the third person was out or whatever, that would not be eligible at all for HOH. Like, it was a fucked up, I hated it. But anyways, finally, the little voice comes on. Ava, at this point, a bunch of people are raising their hands, and then she notices that Vince raises his hand. We didn't see her speak to Vince about going first. If she did, I don't know. They didn't show that. It seemed very much like this bothered me even more watching it, because I'm like, it wasn't like Vince, and again, maybe he did and they didn't show this for some reason, but it was like not like Vince was super pushy, like I really want to go first, the way that Rachel and Keanu were. Ava picked Vince, and her argument in the DR was like, well, he's aligned with a lot of people, so nobody's going to be like, why would you pick him first? I don't really know. He goes first, and this was so funny to me. I'm like, if I didn't watch feeds, or feeds didn't exist at all, and I didn't know what was going to happen, I would have already picked up on on who was safe based off of the outfits they were wearing, because Rachel's DRs, she was only ever in the same outfit that she was wearing that night, whereas other people had different outfits. Maybe that's just something only I would notice, but I'm like, suddenly Vince is like clearly post to shower in one of the DRs. I'm like, okay, we know that this was recorded later, so obviously I know that he stayed. But anyways, Vince completes it. So now the next person has 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And this is where, I mean, the whole thing, Ava shouldn't have fucking picked Vince in the first place, but whatever. Like, it's so stupid. Like, I'm sorry. It's fine. Take a deep breath. It's fine. It's just especially ironic because of like the way the events transpired. And then this week, like, she's like, I'm like getting unnecessarily heated. How am I going to get through this week? I can barely get through the one episode. Anyways, it really, really, really irritated me. Like, so fucking much. Anyways, then Vince has to pick somebody to go next. Naturally, the judges are like, okay, you pick one of us. You pick Morgan, and then Morgan picks Rachel, and then Rachel can pick Kelly at that point, because then Kelly will have like 3 minutes, and hopefully Kelly will lose. You know? Vince, however, is really loyal to Lauren, and he wants to pick Lauren. He wants both Lauren and Morgan to be safe, and he thinks that he can convince Lauren to pick Morgan next, but he knows that he can't convince Morgan to pick Lauren. And he wants both of them safe, so he wants both of them to go, so he wants Lauren to go. This was really annoying to me. This was really, really fucking annoying to me. But alas, I do understand that he wanted both of them safe, and he is correct that he can push Lauren in a direction when he can't push Morgan. Like, he knows that Morgan's not going to budge, but Lauren is, which is a bit unfortunate. I'm like, I wish Lauren didn't. But anyways, he ends up picking Lauren. Lauren then goes. She completes it. Lauren stays true to her word and picks Morgan. Morgan goes. She does it. And she picks Rachel. And Lauren at this point is really angry, and she's like, this sucks. Rachel's going to complete the puzzle, and then Rachel's going to pick Kelly, and Kelly's going to lose, and I'm going to lose another ally because I trusted Vince. And God, I wish that had happened. Like, God on earth, I wish that was the universe we were living in. 1, because Rachel would still be here, but 2, I mean, I don't even know. Like, maybe it wouldn't, but it would be so nice if there was like some kind of light bulb that would go off. And I think we're getting there. I do think we're getting there. Like, not to spoil into week 10, like, but like, I do think it's hard to know. I think Lauren also just doesn't have a ton of allies, so it's like Vince has been her closest ally who's still around. So whatever. Anyways, I wish you would branch out more, but I do think there's also just something unfortunate. Like, I think at some point in the game, if you haven't been super aligned with people, it's like harder to make new alliances. Moving on. But that is not what happens. Rachel does not complete the puzzle, and Rachel is eliminated, and it was devastating. It was really devastating. It's so fucked up to me that time and time again, people have had so many opportunities to save themselves on top of having the opportunity to campaign for a vote, which is like ultimately how people should go. But there are people who have escaped an eviction where they would have been voted out literally because of some fucking dumbass comp on eviction night. But then Rachel loses one maze and she's out. Like, it was so sick and twisted. I'm sorry. She'd never been nominated. Multiple times she had been considered to be nominated. Like, she made it all the way. She was the one returnee. She made it all the way to jury without being nominated. She was in such a good spot to not be nominated, at least for a little while. It was just so sick and twisted. It was so sick and twisted. I was really upset. It was really sad. It was really sad. Rachel, like, said that she felt like she disappointed people. The whole thing made me sad. Ava picking Vince was so stupid. Vince picking Lauren, I don't even know. We pick up then in the next episode, and all of this happened, at least like who won HOH and all of this happened before feeds came back. Lauren won the HOH because she had the fastest time, and Vince kept talking about how like this was the best case scenario. Lauren kept Morgan safe, and now there's trust, and I don't even fucking know. Like, he was like, this was the best case scenario, and Morgan's like, she's gonna put me on the block, and he's like, no, but like, see, we built favor a little bit. And I'm like, no you didn't. And it's just a very stupid argument, because if you hadn't picked Lauren to play, she wouldn't have been HOH. Lauren wouldn't be the HOH if Vince hadn't picked her next to play, because Morgan would have picked Rachel. Rachel would have picked like either another judge, or like Lauren would have never even been an option to be the HOH in the first place. Like, it was really stupid. Like, it was genuinely stupid. And I find Vince's loyalty to Lauren a little bit confusing. Not because it's nothing against Lauren even personally, or that I don't think that Lauren has been a good ally to Vince. I think to her detriment she has. It's just a bit confusing to me, because I'm like, I understand that that's a very close relationship you have, but at the end of the day, there are more numbers on the Morgan side. So I think that you need to just get to a point where, and this week would have not been the one to do it, because obviously she's the HOH, but I'm just honestly, I'm talking too much into week 10, but it's just like, there has to be a point where you can be like, I love you, Lauren, but you're not best for my game. Like, his loyalty to Lauren is a little bit annoying. And at the end of the day, Vince is a very self-interested player. So he's like, Lauren would keep me, so I'm going to pick Lauren. And I do understand him being like, I've burned Lauren more, so I wanted to balance the scale, so I decided to burn Morgan. And it's like, you just got to get to a point where you just pick one side of the house and you say, I'm sorry, this is the side I'm aligned with. Or at least be better at backstabbing the people. I don't even know. It's just so stupid. He's like, well, I burned her so many times that I don't need to burn my other ally. I can't keep burning the same ally. I have to burn another ally. It's like, I would just keep burning the one ally you already burned a lot. Don't burn more bridges. Just, if that bridge is already collapsing, then just like let it go. RIP bridge. Like, if there's another bridge that is a little bit less damaged, don't damage that one more to balance it out. Then you don't have any bridges. Now you're just stuck. You can't cross over. That sounded like not crossover as in the afterlife. This is not a Ghost Whisperer recap. But like, you know what I mean? Like, why? Vince is just not good at this game. I'm sorry to Vince. I'm actually not sorry to Vince. I found out that Vince is an Aries. Let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure that Vince is an Aries. And if you don't know me, I have a vendetta against Aries men. And now more than ever, like, nothing he's done in the game has made me feel this strongly. Finding out that he is an Aries man, that's it for me. I'm done with him. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding, but like, yeah, he's an Aries. And because he's an Aries, I'm rooting for his downfall now. So he is bad at the game. I'm sorry. And I honestly, like, not to jump ahead, because I'll get into it. And I have so much to say about this week that has transpired. like as of it's Saturday the 13th, like as of literally like the last few days of feeds have been so funny. But I have so much to say about Vince, and as the time proceeds, but it's just like Vince, like he's trying to still play the middle, and it's like, but why? Just pick a side. Like, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid because he's like, this is the best case scenario. But it's like, honestly, I think that there could have been a world where you pick Morgan. Morgan picks Rachel, and then like they try to get Keanu or Kelly out, and Lauren is not even in consideration. Then one of you wins the HOH, and you can just convince them not to put Lauren up or something. Or like, you know what I mean? Like there were other routes that wouldn't have so like heavily screwed over your other allies and shown your cards unnecessarily. Like you could have just told Morgan, like I understand that he had just burned Lauren so many times, so he didn't want to burn Lauren again. But it's like on some level, wouldn't you think I've burned Lauren so many times and yet she still trusts me and I can still convince her, like I can still sway her even though I've burned her so many times. Meanwhile, Morgan, you know, like they have different levels of like things that they're clearly willing to forgive you for, man. So like stop pushing Morgan because she will reach a breaking point. I don't know. It was so stupid to me. But anyways, Lauren was the HOH. The main people she didn't want to nominate were Ava, Kelly, and then Vince. I wish she had nominated Vince, but obviously she wasn't going to nominate him. He just picked her in the whatever. She nominated Will, Morgan, and Ashley. Annoying, but it is what it is. Feeds came back and the noms were already Ashley and Will. We found out from feeds that they weren't able to compete, so like they weren't eligible for the HOH in the first place. Ashley, Will, and Ava were on the block, Ava wasn't on the block, and Morgan, sorry. So I was like, this sucks. Rachel's gone. Ashley, Will, and Morgan are on the block. I like all of them. I wanted to root for Lauren, and like I will follow her after this season because I do really like her vibe and we have similar interests. And I do think as an influencer, like somebody, I don't know if she's going to like have a platform, but I do like enjoy her. Like I do think that I'm going to follow her and like, and I think it's mostly the people she's aligned with. And I don't know, maybe Lauren, if she came back in a few years, because she's good at comps. She's like fairly likable. There's just, I don't know. She's not decisive enough and like strategic enough in like making her decisions. So it's just hard for me because I wanted to root for Lauren, but I really hate the people she's aligned with. So like, as happy as I was that she was safe, and I was like, it's really cool that Lauren still hasn't been nominated. Like that's a huge accomplishment. And I can't even say she's the last person to be nominated this season because Rachel was never nominated. She went home without that. So Lauren will probably be nominated at some point. Rachel will have never been nominated the entire season, which sucks. We lost something so great. But like, I'm happy for Lauren. I just hate the people she's aligned with. So like, I'm like, I would rather Kelly go on the block. Even Ava was really pissing me off. Like the thing is, Ava had already started to be kind of annoying because I liked Ava at first. Like she seemed quirky. I liked her. It's just a game approach. Like there was a like level of like, I don't really care. That was a little bit annoying to people, but I appreciated it over a like I don't know. I've been so turned off, and I don't want to say burned because it hasn't. I'm not one of Vince's allies. Nobody's burned a bridge with me, but like it did annoy me to repeatedly deal with players who were like playing with integrity, and I need to be a good person, and I don't want to lie, and like you know, like that kind of attitude of like I need to be a good person in a game where you're supposed to backstab people. That has irritated me so much that I actually found Ava's like nonchalance appealing because I was like, thank God somebody who's not gonna like be so annoying about like somebody being shady in a game sense. But it got to a point where it was like, okay, it's not just nonchalance of like you understand that it's a game. It's not even like, oh, it's just a game. It feels like it's in the sense of like we're competing. It's like, oh, it's just a game and like this doesn't even really matter. I care more about the TV. Like I don't know. Ava really started bothering me in her lack of really wanting to actively play. And then the whole way she reacted to Rachel going home and like really talking about Rachel, she's been on feeds continuing to say that she really wants America's favorite player. Like Ava's really been rubbing me the wrong way. So honestly, like it sucks because the people that Lauren wanted to keep safe are the people that I would most want gone. So it was annoying for me. I didn't want any of those people to go home. Feeds were also kind of like really depressing for the first few days, not even just because Rachel was gone, but because a lot of the players were like, this sucks. Like, what do you mean a comp can just send somebody home? Like, this is stupid. A lot of the players in the game were talking about the twist the same way that the people on the outside were talking about the twist, which was a weird feeling. It was like refreshing, but it was also like, this is stupid. Like, I'm upset that they're upset. Like, this is all so stupid. It shouldn't be happening. The mastermind also, it was like his month of mayhem. So like they were theorizing of like, is there going to be another like elimination? Like, what's even the point of having a social game? Like, you just lose a comp and you go home now. It's all about having comps. Blockbuster, it was like a double whammy because it was like, they all thought that Blockbuster would end when jury started because that's how it happened last year. But they decided to have Blockbuster continue. So it's like not only, it was like a double whammy. It's like Blockbuster isn't over. And then on top of it, there's just a random elimination where you lose a comp and it's sudden death. So now it's like, it's literally like be like comp out or flop. Like you need to be good at comps or you're losing the show, which sucks. So it was like a double whammy of them feeling like, what's the point of having a social game? Which is an understandable feeling, and a lot of us on the outside were feeling that as well. Like, this is so annoying. And I said last year when people really liked the AI arena, and it was like, is it going to be a long-term twist? I was like, I kind of hope it's kind of like BB... the Battle of the Block, I was like about to call it the Blockbuster. The Battle of the Block from Big Brother 16. They brought it back for Big Brother 17, but it lasted less. That's what I had hoped. Instead, it's lasting longer. I was like, if they bring back the AI arena, I hope it's just a shorter thing. Like, I hope it doesn't go until jury, especially because jury is 7 people. Like, that's so long to have 3 nominees. The fact that it's not even just until jury, which is already the final 9. Like, the fact that it's a smaller jury, and I don't know. And they didn't even end it at jury. So it was like, at this point, a lot of people were like, what's the point? So feeds were like really annoying for a few days. I was like upset that Rachel was gone. It was like not fun. It was not fun. Then the veto was played, and the veto was BB Comics. There was a lot of like Vince trying to manage the Morgan Lauren dynamic because he is aligned with both of them, but they're not aligned with each other. And neither one trusts the other. And honestly, he has not helped that in any capacity. Like, Vince is so stupid to me because I'm like, literally, Lauren wins HOH and he tells her, Morgan is not happy that I picked you to go for the chain. Why would you tell her that? She's the HOH. And then, like, I don't understand his... Like, I understand Vince wanting to keep Lauren around because he wants somebody who he knows will take him to Final 2 and probably win against. Like, he probably thinks that he can win against Lauren more than he thinks he can win against Morgan, perhaps. Like, he probably thinks he can win against Lauren more than he thinks he can win against Morgan. So, like, I understand that. I understand wanting to keep her around. It's like this weird... Vince is so annoying to me. I'm sorry. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean that you're not doing a good job at, like, reassuring them? Why not be like, bring both of them in and be like, I know you guys have had your differences, but like, I really trust both of you, and like, believe me, like, let's do a final 3. Like, there's none of that. It's like Lauren doesn't want to work with Morgan doesn't want to work with Lauren, and he's just kind of like, well, you guys don't want to work with each other, but you want to work with me. And I really just need you working with me, so I don't care if you guys hate each other. It's like, that's stupid. He's so annoying. And he's like, again, doesn't do anything to mend the relationship. Like, he tries to be like, to Morgan, he's like, no, I do think Lauren, her goal is to, you're not the target. Her goal is to backdoor Keanu. But then Lauren isn't like, yes, they're not on the same page. It's not like Vince is telling Lauren, like, look, you are my number one, but Morgan thinks that I'm Morgan's number one. So I need her to I need her to trust me. So just tell her that you want to backdoor Keanu. Okay? Just tell her that she's not the target. Like, it's not like he comes up with a plan and is like on the same page. He's so bad. He's so bad at like trying to get them to like not go against each other. And it's not benefiting him at all. It's not like sometimes you're like aligned with somebody and you don't want to take the shot at them, so you have another ally of yours take the shot at them, so then you're not the one who got them out. Like, the only moment that this would work is if it was like final three and you're like, okay, I want Morgan to be the one to evict Lauren, so then Lauren, I don't have to, like, Lauren will still vote for me. Or the other way around. I want, like, there are final three and he throws the HOH to Lauren, so Lauren can be the one to evict Morgan and he can get off scot-free. Like, that's not even what we're talking about. It's so fucking annoying. Sorry. These people are angering me to a degree that is not. But anyways, sorry. It was BB Comics. Lauren is considering, like, the renom option that, like, is the only renom option she's considering is Keanu. Because she wouldn't nominate Vince. I wish that she would consider Vince. But she wouldn't nominate Vince, and she doesn't want to do Ava or Kelly. So, really, Keanu would be her replacement nominee, and he's also somebody who she's like, he's really big target. So, like, it would be a good opportunity to get him out. And she even considered him for an original nomination, but she didn't want to give him the opportunity to play in veto. So they were hoping he didn't get picked in the veto. He didn't. Morgan picked House Guest Choice, and she picked Vince. And then, yeah, I think that was it. Because Morgan's name got picked. Because with the BB Blockbuster, there's no House Guest Choice, like, thing. It's just, if one of the nominees, their name gets picked. So, oh, and then Ava got picked. So it was Ava. Yeah, okay, so Morgan's chip got picked, so she got House Guest Choice, and she picked Vince, and then Ava's name was picked. So playing in BB Comics was Lauren, Ashley, Morgan, Will, Vince, and Ava. So also, not to be a massive hater, I didn't like the comics. There were a few that I enjoyed, but like none that I loved, and quite a few that were like kind of disappointing. I hate when the comics are just their costumes. Sometimes I think it's funny, sometimes I think it fits, okay? But sometimes I, like, honestly, like, I mean, the thing is, if they don't have anything to give, it's like, okay, whatever. But it's like, Vince, there was so much material. There was so much material with Vince, and they made him the Egg Detective, which, like, the Egg Detective was one of the funnier costumes, like, probably one of my favorite costumes that I can think off the top of my head. I love that one. The Butler was, like, not as funny to me, and I wish that Keanu's, like, thing had been something different. I mean, I think I wish Vince's had been something else as well, but, like, the Egg Detective was funnier to me than the Butler. Although I will say, and I think it was funny, and this was a nice touch, and maybe this is the only reason they did it, I love the fact that one of the little hot dogs was Kenny from last season. That was funny to me. That was really funny. Lauren's was cute. Ashley's was, I liked some of them, but, like, Kelly's was so stupid. Peanut Butter and Kelly, Morg, Anne, I hate the ones where they're just puns. Like, Nightmarica, that one was fine, I guess, but it's like, or like Alba Corey, it's like, what the fuck does this say about who they are? I know those were from Big Brother 25, sorry, I was just thinking about, like, I just hate the ones where it's like a pun, but Peanut Butter and Kelly really pissed me the fuck off. Like, I'm sorry, there was nothing funnier. She didn't even eat peanut butter and jellies. Like, it's not like this is the olden days. And by olden days, I mean, like, old school Big Brother, where they ate peanut butter and jellies, and she was, like, on slop a lot. Or she was a have-not a lot. Like, peanut butter and jelly? Did I miss that in feeds? Does she really like peanut butter and jelly? I mean, I know she's a vegetarian, so I know she, like, didn't eat the pigs in blankets. But did I miss that? Anyways, I wasn't the biggest fan of the comics. Like, I didn't think they were that creative. None of them hit that hard. Like, a few of them were funny and, like, cool, and, like, I appreciated the, like like, you know, Adrian's was nice that they referenced something about him, and like Lauren's was like, you know, a reference to her, where she's from, and like Ashley's was related to the shower, but a lot of them were just like not funny. Like Peanut Butter and Kelly, not like Zach was a baseball, who cares? Zay was a cheerleader. What the fuck was up with that? Was he a cheerleader? Did I miss that? What was the joke there? I don't know. Amy's was her crying, and it's like, that's so disrespectful to Vince, who is the actual crybaby of the season. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Amy. I'm so sorry. Not to insult you. Because Vince, sorry. I really didn't like the comics, but basically Ava, like most of them want to win, but Lauren doesn't really want to win because she doesn't really know. She doesn't really want to change noms, because then she would have to show her cards if she was the one to change her nominations. But she would also be fine if her nominations did change, because then she could nominate Keanu. And if she got Keanu out, that would be like a great scenario, because he's like getting Keanu out would be great for the resume, and also just great for your odds to win, because as the numbers dwindle, the less people you're going head to head with, like the better, especially good competitors. So it's just like, that's why you get the comp beasts out early, and that's why the BB Blockbuster is so fucking annoying, because you can't get the comp beasts out early, so then they just comp to the end in a really, really annoying way. And it's like not even, like, the thing about comp beasts is I can respect a comp beast if there's like strategy along with it, but it's like the comp beasts that keep surviving are the ones that just keep being nominated because they suck so bad at the social strategy aspect of the game, and they just keep saving themselves because of the dumbass comps in a way that's really annoying. So it's like, I don't know, like you can't even get the comp beast out early because they just win anyway. Like, it's so annoying. So like getting Keanu out would be huge. And I do think, while he was not her initial target, I do think that Keanu would have been like the best case scenario. And I do think if she had done that successfully, and like that would have been the smarter move not to put him up initially, because he didn't play in BB Comics. But in third was Ashley. She got 20 minutes. I forgot to mention this. When he was playing the comp, Vince, he was like pretty sure that he got all of them correct, but he was like, let me double check, and he went and did the zip line again just to double check. I'm like, that's so stupid. Lock in. When you lock in, it tells you if you did it right. So then you then go back up. Like, he just went back up to double check. It's like, why double check? They can verify you if you press the fucking button. That was so stupid. Ultimately, it's not like he was on the leaderboard, so it didn't impact him at all. But Ashley's in third place. Sorry, I keep forgetting what I was talking about. Lauren doesn't really know what she wants to do with it, so she completes all of it, and then she is like, I'm gonna wait a little bit before I lock in. Hopefully I don't win this, but also it doesn't, like, it's not obvious that I threw it. So Ashley's in third with like 20 minutes. Lauren is in second place with 13 minutes and like a few seconds. And then Morgan is in first place with like 12 minutes and 30-ish seconds. And so Morgan wins. Lauren's like relieved because she doesn't have to be the one to change noms, but like now kind of her hands are tied, but also if Keanu goes, that would be great. So like she is happy with the outcome. Morgan is obviously safe, and I was happy about that because Morgan was safe. And I was like, you know what? Let's just pray Keanu loses this blockbuster, because if he loses this blockbuster, then I'm sitting pretty, and like it'll be the best case scenario for me personally, Emmy Cardinale, who I'm rooting for in the game. Of those three, I would want Keanu gone. I don't like the comp beast aspect. I think honestly, the BB blockbuster lasting this long was annoying me already, and the comp beasts with really shitty social games staying in this long was annoying me anyway. And somebody with a great social game losing one comp and being sent home immediately just like further pissed me off to the comp beasts, where I want them gone. Like, now I want the people who are winning all the comps gone expeditiously, because it's so fucked up that Rachel lost one competition and she was out, but like Keanu and Kelly, whatever. So I was like, I really wanted Keanu gone. It would be best case scenario. That would weaken Lauren's side of the house, which, as much as I have nothing against Lauren, but like I'm not rooting for her side of the house. That's just where I stand. Sorry, Lauren. I do hope that you would come on the Emmy Awards regardless. I like you. I really do. I don't like the people you're aligned with. I'm sorry, it's game. Anyways, but it would be a positive for Lauren, a positive for me as a viewer, and then I wouldn't lose Will or Ashley. I didn't want to lose either of them. I was glad Morgan was safe, but I didn't want to lose Will or Ashley. Ashley, meanwhile, starts really, and I will say both Ashley and Keanu start working on votes. They each do a good job of, like, if they're still on the block, like trying to get votes. Keanu, if he's on the block, still probably going, but I do admire his effort. He kind of not teams up, but him and Morgan kind of have a heart to heart. I can't think of what I'm trying to. I don't know how to phrase it. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like they strike up a deal, not even, but like they find common ground. They decide to like be aligned, right? Keanu's like, I'm coming after Lauren now. So you're coming after Lauren, I'm coming after Lauren. Let's work together. In that regard, Keanu does well. Keanu and Ashley strike up something as well. They're like now on the same page as well. While the comp heavy aspect did hinder a lot, there was really good gameplay regardless, which I can really appreciate. So there was that. And Keanu was probably going, if he was on the block against either, like if he was on the block, he was going. Between Ashley and Will, it was a little bit up in the air. It seemed like Will would probably be safer for a while just because Will has, but Ashley managed to sway votes, convince people that she was a good ally. She convinced Keanu. A lot of people, like, Will is obviously very likable, so they're thinking about the end game, and they're thinking that a lot of people would lose against Will in the final two. So Keanu's still most people's best bet. Like, that's who most people want. Keanu would have gone home. Like, I think the only people who would have voted, Kelly probably would have voted to keep Keanu. Vince would have voted to evict Keanu. Like, Keanu would have been gone. Anyways, also, okay, Keanu was upset with Lauren for nominating him okay, valid. But Keanu's just, I feel like a hater because it's like, I know, I'm not playing the game, okay? I've never played the game. I'm just whatever they call people who just think that they can do everything from their couch or whatever. Like, I get it. I'm not in the game, okay? It's harder when you're in the house, blah, 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 blah. I understand. I'm not saying that I'm like some strategic mastermind, but I do think I have a basic level of understanding of like the game that I do think that some of these people are like really not that good in a way that annoys me. And I think I have the right to say that, okay? Because Keanu, he can be frustrated with Lauren for nominating him. That's fine. But it's like, Lauren never said like you were not going on the block. She didn't promise you anything. And you not nominating her 1 week is not like a guarantee that she's not going to nominate you the next. So like, you can be upset, but acting like it's some big betrayal or she did something, like, that's stupid to me. Sorry, that's stupid. And before he's even on the block, he's trying to convince Vince to volunteer, because he's like, Vince, you'll stay regardless. So like, it makes more sense for you to be on the block. He's telling Lauren, what has Vince done for your game besides like pick you first in the wheel thing or whatever? And it's like, I don't know, like he just doesn't handle, like, he's not good at the game. I'm sorry. Him being like, Lauren, it's stupid if you put me up because if I go, then you're next. No, she's not. Like, no, she's not. I think maybe Kelly would be next. Like, maybe Lauren would be on people's radar. Like, Lauren is going to be on people's radar because she doesn't have many allies. So just by process of elimination, most people who win HOH would nominate Lauren just because Lauren has less allies right now. So it's like, getting you out isn't going to make Lauren a target. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people would be really glad that you were gone. They maybe wouldn't be glad that they weren't the one to get you out. Like, maybe they'd be like, damn it, I wish that was on my resume and not Lauren's. But I don't think anybody would be mad at Lauren for getting you out, or immediately that would make Lauren the target. I think Lauren would have been on the block regardless for people anyway. Like, for a good amount of the people, she would have been on the block regardless. So like, I don't know. His arguments just aren't very good. His trying to get Vince to not, I don't know. He just really, and maybe I just have a bird's eye view. Like, I know a lot more information, but it's like, to think that Vince who's like probably like the most self-interested player this season, would volunteer to go on the block for you, who just nominated him last week? Why? Why would he do that? You just nominated him last week. And like, yeah, you did it to teach him a lesson, quote unquote, whatever the fuck. But like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you actually talking about? It was so crazy. It was so crazy to me. I was like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? There's a lot of buildup in Thursday's episode about like Lauren and Vince and Morgan and, you know, Vince choosing Lauren over Morgan and all of that, and it like building, and that's just going to continue and be a through line, especially in this upcoming week. So I'll dive more into that later, but they do talk about that, and it is like the Vince Morgan dynamic is quite something. It really is quite something to watch on feeds. And as the time progresses, I'm just more and more anti-Vince in all of the, like, in all of it. Like, I really want Vince to go. Like, I need Morgan to cut Vince. Honestly, even Lauren to cut Vince. I need them to realize that Vince is the enemy. Like, Vince is not, like, he's a bad ally. He's a bad player. He's so Vince. And the fuck of it all is, why did Ava pick him first? Like, why? Like, literally anybody would have been better. Literally anybody. You're aligned with you're not even aligned with Vince. Like, she picked Vince because Vince was aligned with so many people that nobody would get mad at her. Pick somebody you're aligned with. Why are you picking somebody who has so many other alliances, who you've gone after? Why are you... That was the dumbest thing ever. So stupid. But it is what it is. So on Thursday, we get that segment of, like, there's, you know, Morgan and Vince and Lauren. And Morgan is upset that Vince is choosing... Which, you know, it's fair. I'm sorry. It is fair. And I do stand by the fact that I think... Like, I can somewhat understand his logic of, like, I've burned Lauren so many times that I don't want to burn her more. But I just don't think, I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but if I betrayed somebody in the game, I'm talking about in the game, okay? I'm not talking about in real life, because if I betray somebody in real life, then I'm going to want to make amends and, like, repair things. But, like, in the game, if you've burned Lauren so many times, but you haven't burned Morgan, why are you going to, like, ruin that relationship? Because eventually you will have to pick between both of them. Like, just pick one relationship now. The wishy-washiness of, like, trying to be, like, you're my number one to both of them, like, it can't last forever, and it's going to bite you in the ass. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It really is. So, like, I don't know. It's just really, it's really, really annoying. Like, it's so annoying. It's like, if you burned one bridge, just let that bridge burn, okay? It's over. Water the bridge with, like, put out the fire with the bridge with Morgan. Especially because... you are in a formal alliance with Morgan, you know? Like, Lauren's side of the house has less power and less sway, especially in jury. Like, obviously depends who's in the final two chairs and, like, who ends up being in the jury. But it's like, why are you burning Morgan when Morgan has so much more sway? Lauren doesn't have much sway. Even the people who Lauren's aligned with, I don't think that they are going to, like, they're that loyal to each other where, like, I don't think that Ava would, like, I do think if Vince betrays Morgan, Rachel, Ashley, that side of the house, like, they will view that as Vince turning on the judges and not being loyal to them, and they will factor that in when they're deciding who they think should win. Whereas if Vince betrays Lauren, I think that side of the house already has their own judgments about Vince. I think Keanu will make his own decision about Vince. I don't think that will sway. I don't even think that'll sway Kelly. Ava has her own opinion about Vince. Like, that's the Rachel, Morgan, Ashley, Will, like, that side of the house is a lot more united where... And honestly, like, not all of them, but, like, logical. Like, burning that side of the house, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense logically. I understand on an emotional level, he, like, really cares about both of them, so he, like, doesn't want to upset Lauren. But, like, from a purely game perspective, you should cut that relationship off with Lauren and be like, I'm sorry. And it's also just extra weird because he has this very like physical, close thing with Morgan. And then like I don't even know. I don't even know. I want Vince gone. You know the one thing, Taryn's impressions are so slay. But anyways, we got that segment. Then Keanu, Ashley, and Will played in the... We also saw Ashley campaigning, Keanu campaigning. Then Keanu, Ashley, and Will played the blockbuster. Keanu won, of course he did. And it was Ashley and Will, and it was 3-2 with Will going home. The three to evict Will were Vince, Ava, and Keanu. The three to evict Will were Vince, Morgan, and Keanu. And then to evict Ashley, Kelly, and Ava voted to evict Ashley. So it was 3-2. Will basically, he had a great social game. People didn't think they could win against him. Made sense. Ashley, I really, really, I love Ashley. She's been playing such a good game. Like a lot of people didn't like her. Keanu didn't like her. Now Keanu is loyal to her. Like Will, like had such a good social game, and she was able to use that to her advantage, and able to like mend things with Keanu. She got into a fight with Keanu, and like they're aligned now. Like Ashley did a really good job getting the votes for herself, especially like she's had such a great recovery. Like I think if Ashley gets to the end, she has a great arc. I mean, she already has a great arc, but genuinely, if she was like sitting in the final two seats, like she was the house target, then a lot of people didn't like her. She made amends with people. Like she's doing a great job. She's very strategic. I really love Ashley. Like I love Ashley. She's such great TV. I like the people she's aligned with. I love her. I love her. I was really happy to see her stay. I was sad to see Will go. It was like a lose-lose situation. I do think Ashley's a bit more entertaining on feed, so, but it was really sad. It was really sad nonetheless. And that was where the week ended. So much has happened already in the like first 2 days of the next week. So I'm so excited to talk about it. It's quite a disappointing week. I still have hope for the end game. There are a few people who I would be satisfied with them winning, and a good amount of people that I'd be really dissatisfied with them winning. Keanu and Kelly, if either of them win, I'm going to be really upset. Kelly definitely isn't winning. I don't think there's anybody that Kelly would beat in the final two. But, like, God forbid she even get there. Like, that would be horrible. But, like, Keanu, he's a good comp beast. And I will say, I admire the fact that he's able to mend fences and, like, he will, like, fight with somebody. But, like, if they're good for his game, he'll be like, let's work together. I appreciate that. Or, like, very much, like, he can really like somebody, but if they turn on him in the game, then he's like, okay, well, Lauren nominated me when I don't... Like, he never had any problems with Lauren, but then Lauren nominated him, and now he's like, well, I'm coming for Lauren. I can appreciate that aspect of Keanu's game, but his reads are terrible, and he has no... Like, his strategy sucks. But, like, if he won, I'd be really upset. I don't think he deserves to win. He's not a good player. He's so annoying. Lauren... it would really depend on the moves that got her there. I think there would be an interesting route for Lauren to get to the final two chairs, but I wouldn't be the most happy. Like, on a personal level, I'd be like, that's so cool. Yellow Jackets fan won Big Brother. But, like, I like Lauren, but I just, on a game level, I don't think, it wouldn't be that satisfying in terms of, like, having a game plan and fulfilling that. I think the people that I would most want to win at this stage are either Ashley or Morgan. Morgan, I think, has a really good... Like, sometimes her reads aren't the best, but, like, she has a good... Like, she wants to play. She has a good balance of, like, strategy and, like, trying to be, like, this makes the most sense, and swaying things strategically. And, like, she does a great job swaying Vince. Like, I enjoy Morgan as a game player. And she also has like a good ability with comps. Like I feel like she's a well-rounded enough player that if she got to the end, like I'd be really happy if Morgan won. Also, because there's a lot of like pre-jurors who like are very shady towards Morgan, and Morgan apparently got the zing for Zingbot that like poked fun at her like closeness with Vince, which people people on Twitter call the cheat mance. Apparently Morgan zing was about that, so that's unfortunate because it's like she's not the one in the relationship, and Vince has been telling her that like his girlfriend would be fine or whatever, which I still think like I don't know, it's very weird situation, lines blur, whatever. I'm not vilifying Morgan. At the end of the day, it's more Vince's responsibility, so I don't know. Anyways, but like Morgan's gotten a lot of shit, and I will say that I'm sure that I don't think that I was ever like that mean to Morgan. She did bother me a little bit with the whole Jimmy week. I've said that I really enjoyed her by herself, and it was like when she was with Mickey that she really rubbed me the wrong way. But anyways, I like Morgan, and she's had I just those are the two people who I would be happiest if they won. Vince, I do not want him to win. I don't want him to win. Lauren, she's a question mark for me. Keanu and Kelly, don't want them to win. Ashley would be so happy if she won. I think those are all the people left in the house. If I miss somebody, then Ava. I don't want Ava to win. But Ava doesn't even want Ava to win. She just wants AFP. So like, I don't know. We'll see if she even cracks the top 3. No shade to Ava. I really liked Ava. She's had a fall from grace for me personally. It's like care a little bit about the game. Like there are people who's like, this is their dream to play the game. And you're like, who wants to volunteer? I didn't think anybody would want to volunteer. Like, oh, I guess I'll pick Vince. Like, no, put some thought into it, you know? And then Ava's so devastated that Will went home, and like, she didn't want either Ashley or Will to go home. And it's like, you kind of caused it because you picked Vince, and Vince isn't loyal to just, Vince is loyal to a bunch of people. Obviously, he screwed over the order, and he prioritized Lauren. I mean, Ava's aligned with Lauren too, but it's like, I don't even know. I don't want Ava to win. I don't know. I guess I don't know who she could be in the final 2. I don't see that path unless like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Anything can happen. I didn't think in my last episode, I mean, at that point when I recorded, at least like the end of last episode, I did know that Rachel had gone home. But like, if you had told me this like a little over a week ago, I wouldn't think that we'd be at a place where Rachel went home, went to jury first. So we'll see how things go. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, please feel free to follow me wherever you listen to podcasts. Like and subscribe if you're listening to this on YouTube. Comment down below if you're listening to this on YouTube and you disagree with my opinions on anything, or you agree. You thought I made a very funny or astute comment. That's always nice. Thank you so much. It means a lot. I anticipate this episode going out sometime Monday, Tuesday at the latest, but definitely before the next Big Brother episode. I'm going to try to get it out on Monday or Tuesday, so it can go out before the Summer I Turn Pretty episode as well. So we'll see. Thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot. Once the Big Brother season's over, I'll have a different schedule probably. I'll figure it out from there. Apologies for the inconsistencies. I'm doing my best. But thank you so much. Really means a lot. Brings me so much joy when people listen to this podcast. So I can't thank you enough if you are listening. Have a great week, and fuck the white locust.